Karma is something that many people believe in. Those who believe in karma believe that their actions have a direct effect on their future. This story that I'm about to discuss relates greatly to this concept. The story, Why They're Called Sixes, focuses on a male teenager who is stuck in an abusive household, and the abuse he endures becomes his normal reality. His warped sense of reality pushes any kind of functional relationship out of his life. He is able to see the spirits of those who have died and demons from past lives. Spirits usually do not cause harm to humans, whereas the demons do. They are created out of hatred and sorrow, and as they contain negative emotion, they begin to influence the humans that surround them. His gift is more like a curse to him because his mother and her boyfriend exploit his gift for money, and at the age of 16, the character begins to resent his mother and her boyfriend. He realizes that they used his power and they blamed all of their relationship problems on him. One day, when he is brought to a family that believes there's a spirit in their home, he sees a demon clinging to their son. He calls these demons sixes because those who have them stuck to their bodies usually only last 6 months until they commit suicide or commit a crime that results in the death penalty. A month after this encounter, the character begins to see the sixes roaming around his mother and her boyfriend. At first they stay at a distance, but they slowly begin to creep closer until they are on top of their backs. He stays silent about this and continues on as if life was normal. He does not warn either of them because of how poorly they treated him for his entire life. Rather than warning his parents he allows the sixes to cling onto them and suck the life out of his mother and boyfriend. The author of this story is a Reddit user who goes by the username RedAnn. This user is known for her horror stories and Reddit threads. While not much is known about this user aside from her age as a woman in her mid-20s, we can infer some possible experiences that she has had in her lifetime to influence the creation of this story. Anne may have experienced a troubled childhood and is expressing her own emotions in this story. She may have also had an abusive family, or her mother may have had an abusive boyfriend who was abusive towards the family. Alternatively, Anne may have had a paranormal experience herself, which inspired her to write a story explaining her own experiences. Anne may have also simply had a passion for horror stories, possibly reading them herself as a child, which motivated her to create something of her own that others can enjoy. Anne utilizes a range of literary elements in this fictional short story to convey the theme of karma. Anne uses a story to set the tone. Set in the present day in a troubling household where the main character has grown up with his mother that was in an abusive relationship. This has affected the main character's relationships with others in 2 ways. He learned to distrust others because he watched his mother get stuck in a cycle of abuse from trusting her boyfriend. He learned to push any kind of relationships away because of his mother's relationship. The second way that his relationships are impacted with others is due to the exploitation of his powers. His peers found out about his abilities and were scared by him. Everyone in his town knew who he was and what he was capable of. Anne also uses foreshadowing to imply what will happen towards the end of the story. Written in the first person, the character describes beginning to see sixes around his home. He is surprised to see them walking around because he had only ever seen them on top of people. This foreshadows what will happen to his parents later on. And this also ties in with the literary element suspense. Suspense is used to keep the reader engaged in the story. It gives them a feeling of excitement and wonder to know what will happen next. Imagery is woven into the story when the character describes what he is seeing. The reader is able to visualize what is being described in their minds. For example, the way the sixes are described when they are first introduced. He describes one of them as a gray non-human. Its skin looked like paper, and its eyes were fully blood red. It came in human-like shape, but it was far from human. The way these are described is meant to make the reader feel squeamish and anxious. Symbolism is also a literary device that contributes to the overall theme of karma. The sixes that the character sees on people's backs symbolizes the concept of karma because they only target those who have treated others poorly or caused physical harm to others. The actions that they make directly affect them the same way karma does. This story is meant to make the reader consider whether or not karma is a real or a made-up concept. This concept refers to future consequences of current actions. For example, good intentions will lead to future happiness, whereas bad intentions will lead to future suffering. In this story, we are made to believe that karma is real, and that is what the sixes symbolize. The story also makes the reader think about paranormal activities like seeing spirits or demons. They are also made to consider what happens to people after they pass. People around the world think about this concept every day. It is a question that nobody can truly answer. This story is also relatable to most people reading the story because most people have been treated poorly by another person and experience the mental toll that it can cause. Being treated poorly can cause long periods of unhappiness that can often cause feelings of resentment or depression. At the end of the story, the character has built up resentment towards his parents, and he allows them to suffer, and it is alluded to that they die. His ability to see things that others can't was abused and taken advantage of by his parents. When he allows his parents to die, he will no longer be exploited and will be able to make decisions on his own terms. He may be able to begin to trust other people around him and form proper relationships. Overall, while the reader learns about the character's experiences with the paranormal activity, the underlying message of treating others the way you want to be treated suggests that he may experience bad karma in the future too.